Good afternoon, G-Force. Tom Ginn here. We have changed our time today to noon, as obvious, but just wanted to let you know that the guests that I have coming on today I'm really excited to introduce them here in a moment. But before I get into that, I just want to acknowledge the principles we've been covering the last several weeks on Gratitude Works, the principles in the book called Gratitude Works by Robert E. Emmons. So I encourage you to get the book, Build Your Gratitude Principles, because I believe gratitude is the foundation that gives you a different perspective in life. It gets you over difficulties. It eliminates negativity. Gratitude is a very powerful, powerful principle to apply in one's life. In business and personal relationships, gratitude. How gratitude, last week I shared a little bit about how gratitude affected me in the time of loss, losing a friend to death, and how gratitude shifted how we dealt with that in a positive way. So gratitude works in so many ways. But today, my guest, I've known these individuals for, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere between 3 and 5 years, I believe. That would be an accurate statement. I've been involved in some of their workshops and different local events in the past and have participated in their DownStream program. Today, you're going to learn a little bit about what they do with DownStream. And we're going to have an interactive session, just as if they were doing a live stream event, whether it be virtually or in person today. So we want you to make sure that you're tagging and sharing. Make your comments. We're going to want to address any questions you have, all those type of things. But what I like to do now is bring in the DownStream team, And what I like to do is first I just like to have Sarah start out here, and we will just ask. My question for you, first of all, just a little bit about yourself, how you guys got, just about yourself, what you do, and we'll just go round robin a little bit so everybody get a sense of who you are, why you do what you do, and then we'll talk. Sarah, you'll set the stage with regards to what is DownStream, and then we'll kick it off and have conversation in and around gratitude and how you approach different things with gratitude. Bring your perspective in. So, Sarah, I'll start with you. Just introduce yourself and about you, your family, where do you live, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tom. And actually, I may mix things up right away the DownStream way, because at our DownStream events, we always like to add sort of a fun question to the introduction portion, because it really cracks it open in a way that's different. And since we're talking about gratitude, I thought maybe we could all say just something we're grateful for in the last 24 hours. So, hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Schwab. My business is called Content Creation Coach. So I'm a content marketing strategist and coach. I'm a mom of 3 kids and 2 dogs, and an all-around creative person. I'm really passionate about creativity. I'm a dancer. I dabble in music and all sorts of forms of creative expression. And I really think that content creation and content marketing is kind of where creativity and business and entrepreneurship overlap. So I love what I do, and that's why I do it. And something I'm grateful for in the last 24 hours is, I'm going to say, snuggle time with my dog Max last night. He doesn't usually get to come up to our bedroom, but I needed a little extra snuggle time last night, so I brought my dog Max up to my bed, and we got to snuggle together, and it was just beautiful.
Great. So I like that, the fact that you posed that question there. So and I'll come back to everybody and you can with a question. But I'm going to move over to Jill.
Okay.
And Jill, just share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, why you do what you do, and then we'll move to Dave.
Awesome. I'm Jill Borsos. I'm a transformation personal business coach and speaker. And I do what I do because I love the reward, the love, the flow, the connection that I have with my clients. I just love seeing them shine in the world, and that means the world to me. And I'm in Waukesha, and it's kind of fun. I'm back to my roots. I was born in Waukesha, but hadn't lived here very much, and it's fun to be back here. And we live in a 1880s Cream City brick farmhouse, so it's been a pleasure to tune it up and make it sparkle, and has a lot of character, so it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, for those that don't know where Waukesha is, in Wisconsin. So we're all Wisconsinites. We're all cheeseheads here. I'm grateful for that. You know, we have a good football program and great colleges and stuff to follow. So I'm grateful for that. But Jill, thanks for sharing.
And gratitude, I forgot my grateful. Sorry.
Oh, God, I apologize.
Yep, I forgot. So what I'm grateful for in the last 24 hours is I had a friend that was in Florida for a month and a half or two, and she came back and we got together yesterday. And I'm just so grateful for catching up with her and the friendship that we have over so many years. That was really beautiful. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Great. Well, Dave?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Rebro. First of all, Tom, thanks for inviting us to come join the G-Force platform and what you're doing. This is really, truly up our alley. So we are so happy to be here with you. I enjoy what I do, but I help people really use technology to fuel their passion. All right. And along the way with using technology, sometimes it gets kind of frustrating and sometimes it gets overwhelming. And my official title is the technology therapist. So I come from more of a holistic way of looking at technology and implementing technology. So I have a passion for that. I love to teach. I love to share. I love to coach. And that is just a perfect fit for me. Like Jill, I'm also from Waukesha, Wisconsin. And my wife and I live here. We don't have any kids, but we have a ton of nephews and nieces and great nephews and nieces and spend a lot of time with them. And I love to fish. So I love getting out in nature. And I love, Jill, you mentioned this before, vitamin N, vitamin nature. I just soak that up. So I love being in the boat. If I don't catch anything, I don't care. I just love being out in nature and just watching, observing, and being part of that. So that's what I love to do. In addition to that, I love getting together with these two ladies right here and put together something called DownStream. And I know we're going to get that in a second, but that's another one of my passions, and can't wait to share that with your audience.
Well, I as well. So, and you know, because we're participating, we'll like Cheryl set the stage here. But I'm so grateful for number one. I'll give two great gratitudes today. I'm grateful for this moment because I believe this moment dictates everything in the future. How we deal with it, no matter what the circumstances, whether things are going upside down on you or things are going good. Value this moment because it's the most important moment we have. So that is my primary place that it grounds me every day in every moment. When I get frustrated, I'm so grateful for this moment. And that opens up the world to look at it differently. But in more of a general thing, what I'm grateful for is some new relationships I've got in my business that have been working on for several months. And I'm just so grateful for what they're teaching me in business. And you'll be my audience out there on Elevate Your Profit. You're going to be introduced to some of my colleagues in my other businesses. So I'm just grateful for the universe delivering what I need in my life and in my business. So that's what I'm grateful for today. Those two things, those two principles. So, hey, do you mind if I do this? I love your logo. Can I bring your logo up? Okay, you chatted at me here, but I'm going to do this. I love this logo. Who created that?
We had a little graphic design help, but we came up with the concept together.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the principles of downstream. What's your purpose of it? Who wants to take the stage on this? Sarah, do you want to?
Sure, I'm happy to. Yeah, downstream. Jill and Dave and I came together, over 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And as you all just learned a little bit about each of us, we each bring different strengths and different perspectives. I bring sort of the creativity and self-expression and, getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself out there. Dave brings that organizational and systematic and that connection to technology. Awesome. Jill brings her, mindset and transformation and inner work to everything that we talk about. And the three of us just have these fantastic conversations. And we thought, let's bring this to more people. And that's really what Downstream is about. You can see the quote that Tom's got up on the screen says, "Let the good vibes flow." And the name Downstream evolved and came out of the fact that it really is all about getting into that flow and following where that is, that energy is leading, the momentum that's out there. And I think our goal every time we get together, we don't necessarily have an agenda or a plan or a presentation. It is truly an open conversation that is impacted by everyone who shows up and participates and what they bring and what they contribute. And it creates this incredible flow and momentum and energy. And we always say, you're going to leave feeling more energized and more excited. In the same way that gratitude generates that kind of positive energy, positive vibrations. So that's what Downstream is all about. We meet every month, and it used to be in person. We've been meeting virtually for a while now here. And we've also done retreats, full day retreats and half day retreats and events like that. And we even have some fun events that we create to try to just get those good vibes flowing, playing some games or talking about books or watching, impactful movies and things like that. So Downstream is all about creating those kinds of positive connections, conversations that get people into the flow.
And, knowing what you do, it's sort of, you're building a community as well.
Of course.
Where people can express themselves and we all learn from everybody, right? That's one of the things I love about these type of forums or the tribes we keep, because everybody has so much value to give. And by putting a forum like that, I've seen it at work in the past and when I've attended events. So, but I'm going to just move over to Jill and just share with you a little bit about your role, what you like participating in the Downstream and your thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, it's exciting. Every time we get together, it's just like this energy. It's igniting, it's inspiring, it's energizing, it's fun. It's got to do with you hit it, Tom, about the different perspectives and people sharing their experiences has been really, really deep, as far as like how to feel what they're going through, what they've gone through, and hearing it from their own perspective and them feeling like they have a safe place to talk about it. Because I think a lot of times as business owners, as people in the corporate world or wherever, sometimes we don't feel that we can be that vulnerable and honest and open. And that's one of the things that people appreciate. And what I appreciate is that DownStream isn't the three of us, it's all of us. And it's such a beautiful energy. And when we let the conversation flow the way it goes and let it go, it's going to end up somewhere magical. And I love that. I love being a part of that. I love witnessing it and guiding it at times to help facilitate that in a way that we can appreciate each other and really enjoy that connection. That's what we're we talk about gratitude. That's one of the things that we are so grateful for. And what our participants are so grateful for is that openness, that vulnerability, the support, and that we're sharing the weight of whatever that transition might be, that we bear that together. And that in itself, it lifts us up and helps us decide and make decisions and have light about where we want to go, what we want instead.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, that tribe, I think a secure place. We all seek it. And you provide that. I witnessed that myself. Coming in the first time, of course, we're all apprehensive of what's this all going to be about. But within minutes, it's like, I'm at home. I'm at home. And I can be vulnerable. I can put myself out there without judgment and those type of things. I think that's the environment we're all seeking out there. And I encourage people that are listening to this is seek out organizations or people such as DownStreams to plug into. And we'll talk about at the end. But I'm going to turn over to Dave. What is the thing that jazzes you or gives you that purpose around DownStream?
Yeah, I love what Jill and Sarah have been saying. I'm just getting excited listening to that. I'm getting jazzed up. What's unique about DownStream for me is I love the fact that we can come in as me into a space that we become we. And we have these conversations that we build together. And at the end of the day, when the conversation's done, we walk out as me again, but there's a part of that conversation that goes with you. And it's about growth. At DownStream, we're really about the inner growth. And you really get tuned in and learn about yourself. And Tom, you're right. It is a space where you come in and you can be yourself. How many times have you gone to some meeting or corporate thing or some association and you go in there and you feel like you're playing a role and you're not really your true self? At DownStream, all that's thrown away and you can actually be yourself and nobody judges and we're there to support. And for me, I just love that interaction that happens because I always learn and I come away, as Jill said, energized and, your knowledge base increases based on the collaboration and that conversation that goes on. And I do like that we don't have a set agenda where this is the outcome we have to have. It develops on its own and it flows where it says, let the good vibes flow. That conversation really, truly flows and we flow with it. And Sarah, I think you said it's magical, or Jill, you said it's magical. It is at the end because we all get done and we're like, wow. Now, in fact, the people that come and join us say, is it over already? We want to stay. Can we continue this? We get and to hear that feedback from everybody that's participating really makes it worthwhile and really validates what we thought DownStream could be. So in the long run, really to see how people benefit coming out of DownStream time after time is really, really what gets me going and gives me that passion to continue with it.
Yeah. Well said, everybody. So like I started out, we're going to go through what would happen in a live stream. And I know every time you set up a live stream, there is a concept or a topic that you want to bring attention to. What were some of the recent ones you've talked about? What was your last downstream theme that you talked about? Just so people get a sense of the type of things you might plant the seed with.
We have had many. Some of ours that we've done recently are, well, these are upcoming ones. Where your attention goes, energy flows.
Okay.
We've done ones about the roles, the different roles that you play. We've done ones about, I want to say we've done one about gratitude. What are the other ones that jump out at you guys?
No going back.
Yeah. There's no, yeah, that was a great conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Think about it, Tom. You can't go back. So where do you go from here? You can live in the past, but how is that going to benefit you moving forward? So that was an awesome conversation.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frightful and delightful, looking at, with the ins and outs of it, of things that are frightful, that there's some things that are delightful, and it's fun to hear other people's perspective of how they see it. Mm-hmm. And we've also done inner self-image, so Dave was talking about that, right? How you come into a room and your inner self-image might not match what people are seeing or what you think they see. So that was really deep conversation, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Great topics.
Yeah. Just get a flavor out there, because it goes deep and it goes wide. May start as a trickle. That's how all rivers are formed, right? One drop, and it just gets broader and deeper as you go. So that's what I love about what you guys are doing.
I think people crave these conversations. These are not like you said, these are deep topics, and they maybe feel a little intimidating or different than what you would show up for to kind of learn, business tools or things like that. But when you get into it, people crave that sort of ability to talk at that level and share at that level and connect at that level. It really does create a powerful experience when you pick topics like the ones that we pick.
When you're sharing your platform, who are you looking to reach out and touch to invite people in? Just so those are out there, because I'm not going to give my opinion on it, but I'll let you guys go ahead and elaborate on who do you want to share this with?
The broad category that we say is growth-minded individuals, people who are looking for something more, who are open to that growth, who are really open to that exploration of themselves and of the world and that kind of thing. We work with a lot of or have a lot of professionals and some business owners, entrepreneur type people. But the common thread with everybody is really that growth mindedness in their approach.
All right, great.
Well, I think all different ages too. I know we've had people in their 20s. We've had people in our retreats in their 70s. It really is, wherever you jump in the stream, and are ready to grow, that's the place to go downstream, right? Where it's easier and you're in the flow. So anybody can join.
Great.
And it's hard to say anybody. I get it, Tom, because, but one of our taglines that we haven't even mentioned yet is to say, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
That's the downstream way. And, we all have many common experiences as human beings. The details of our situations and our lives might be different, but we really are in the same boat in so many ways. And that's where we seek to connect with each other.
Yeah. I would like to throw in, we're all on our own journeys, aren't we? We're all on our same journeys, but along that journey, we all face similar issues and challenges and bright spots along the way. And it's nice to be involved with a group that we can figure out things together, those challenges, and explore those and learn more. And I think a lot of people in our group are, like you said before, are trying to self-discover as well along the way. I think we get a certain point in our life where we shift from, I want this to, well, where am I going? What does it really mean? And those people that are at that stage really fit well in these conversations. And it's amazing once we get a group of those people together, what happens. We talked before about that magic that happens. So it's really open to anybody who feels that vibe, who's at that place and is open.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, I'm going to have you set the stage. We're going to do a downstream session, and we're going to talk a little bit about how you incorporate gratitude. And I'm going to throw some different things out at us, and we'll just talk about how you take gratitude and to deal with that situation or that event or whatever the case may be. So, Sarah, you want to set it off, and then I will pose one of the questions here, and we'll just dialogue back and forth.
I love it. I think that sounds fun. This is what we're all about. So this will be a little bit of a blended downstream event / GeForce live stream. But when we kick off our conversations, we try to set the stage, and Tom's focus here on gratitude is right up our alley. As he said in the beginning, gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting our perspective, our experience, our energy, our emotions. And I know we all have a lot of personal experience with gratitude. It's funny, when I shared at the beginning in my last 24 hours, and even just picking one little thing like that is powerful. But we know there are so many things every moment. Tom, I think you brought this up too, right? Just this moment right here, right now, I'm grateful. And, I can think of big picture things that I'm grateful for. You can go into your past and think about things that you're grateful for. You could go into your future and think about things that you're grateful for that haven't even happened yet. How powerful is that? So I'm getting goosebumps just even talking about this topic. So I can't wait to see what kinds of questions you have for us to dig into.
Okay. My question, first of all, is this is an open question to you, anybody can jump in at any time. When did you come to a realization in your personal growth, the power of gratitude? When did you come to a conscious awareness of gratitude and how powerful it is? If you'd like to dialogue on that.
I'll jump in, Tom. There was a point in my career, probably about 11, 12 years ago, that it really gratitude hit to me. I was making a transition. I was a system engineer and working on networks and computers, and I was wearing the propeller head, and I lost touch of the passion for that. And I knew there was something greater out there for me to go out and do. And I always loved to teach, and I always loved to help people excel. So I made a transition between being the on-site technical guy, right? Call them up on the phone, come fix things, to the guy that wanted to go out and help people learn and teach. Well, I was contracted out, Tom, and everything would just flow to me. I was making good money, didn't even have to market. Everything was there. People would call me. When I made the shift in what I wanted to do, I got a rude awakening that you just can't make a big shift and start something new and have that same success. And I reached some real deep lows there and some challenges. And I got into some dark spots. And, what helped me pull myself out of that was, oh, wait a minute, let's step back. I know things are bad right now, and I know things are tough, but look what you have. You got a beautiful wife, you got a great family, you got people who love you. And I start playing that over and over again. And I started to do gratitude lists. So every morning I would get up and just write out things I was grateful for. And really what that did is change my attitude for being down, having fear, being stressed out. And it shifted the way I was thinking and shifting my attitude. And I noticed that things were starting to pick up. I was getting breaks. I was getting people calling me. Things were starting to happen. And I thought about that. I'm like, well, what did I change? I'm like, wait a minute. I started doing gratitude. And at that point, I'm like, there's something to this gratitude. There's something in me that changes, and I'm attracting some things. So for me, at that point, I really recognized how powerful gratitude was and really became aware of it. That's another thing. are you aware of that? So I was aware of that, and I tried to stay aligned with that along the way. And, 11, 12 years later, boy, what a difference that's made. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful I went through that hard time so I could realize, what gratitude meant to me along the way.
Well, thanks for sharing, Dave, because that's in alignment when we study gratitude and how it shifts our emotional well-being, our conscious well-being. All those things are affected by gratitude. And when you were dark and low, you focus on positive, eliminate that negativity, which creates blocks for growth.
Absolutely. And when you're down low like that, I'll point out, you start to physically feel down and low. I mean, you start to feel pains and stuff like that. So your body reacts to the way you're thinking, your attitude. And once you get out of that, if you're ever in a good mood and you're very thankful and you're just feeling good, you don't feel those aches and pains, do you?
No.
Yeah, you don't. Your body kind of regulates and gets back to its normal balance, so to speak. So I know gratitude has many levels to it. And physically, I felt that too, coming out of that low spot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of science behind it, the neurochemistry, what it does and how it triggers that and brings a state of, I call it emotional homeostasis, what gratitude does. So thanks for sharing that. Sarah, what would be your awakening or your first recognition how powerful gratitude was in your life? Any incident or any circumstance as well?
I was thinking about that. I don't know that I can pinpoint one single thing, but what resonated with me and what Dave was saying, I love getting myself into that gratitude, positive flow state, right? Like I do it in the morning. I'll share this. I have writing out gratitude lists I have found that does not sort of jive with me for whatever reason. It feels more like a chore than actually, and I'm an emotional person. So it's more important to me to go into the feeling and feel it.
Yeah.
And create a habit of when there's a moment where just like we've been talking about, a moment that can be small, a moment with my dog, a moment with my kids, a moment with a smell or the sun just came out or whatever, that I take that brief moment to just feel like, wow, that's something to be grateful for. Wow, I love how that feels, and feel into it emotionally. And I think I was, I don't know, lucky or wired or something. Like I remember as a young person, even in my childhood and youth and teenage years where good stuff would happen. And I just have such an emotional response to it. I would like go into a bathroom stall and just be like, and have that positive reaction. So I try to weave that in all the time. But what Dave said is, that's easy and fun and, great to think about. And that's the momentum we want to always try to create. But when you're not there, that's when remembering and bringing gratitude in is so key. And the low point for me that I'll share, it happens in all sorts of different ways, is, so I lived in Switzerland for a year. And it was a tremendous experience. I'm a huge proponent of international education, experiential education. But I had 3 kids at the time. The youngest was 2. I didn't speak the language. We didn't have a car, whole new thing. And my husband would go off to work and I would be there alone a lot. It was very lonely. It was very challenging. And I'm bringing a 2-year-old to the grocery store on a bike and like whatever. And I got to a place where I was kind of depressed. I would have trouble getting out of bed some days and I couldn't talk to anybody. I had no friends. I couldn't talk to the people. They were nice people. I just didn't have the language connection. All of these things were hard. And what I remember thinking about is, Sarah, look where you are. Like, it's a beautiful country. You got to go to the mountains last weekend. You got to, go to Paris with your daughter, 2 weekends ago. And focusing on the amazing memories that we were creating and just even the little walks that we would take in this experience that we were having. So that gratitude in that situation, it sounds crazy, right? These are not problems. These are like problems that are not really problems, but they are. This is what Downstream is about, right? Everybody, no matter what you're dealing with, it's legit. And there were elements of that were really, really hard, and gratitude really helped me to reframe it and enjoy it and appreciate it to this day. And it's still a phase of our life and of my kids' lives that they remember and they will never forget.
And those are the things that, you were talking about the struggles and the lack of, couldn't communicate and stuff. But in reality, when you shifted your perspective on other things, those minimized them. It didn't eliminate them, right? Gratitude doesn't eliminate problems. It just gives us a different perspective how to accept them or reject them or deal with them or whatever in a different way. So thanks for sharing that. So
your focus almost. Yeah, exactly.
And it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
Instantaneous. Gratitude, thoughts, instantaneous, changes everything, how you look at things and feel about things.
Awesome.
Jill, it's all yours. What was the time about your greatest awareness about gratitude and how powerful it is in your life?
I think what comes to mind for me, well, first I'll just share something short, is Sarah was talking about, look where I am. And that was a big lesson for me when I was young and we went to Europe and I was complaining, whining about something, that wasn't going right. And my dad just looked at me and he said, Jill, you're in Europe. And that with those, even though they're so long ago, those memories just stick with me, just like, wait a minute, just look around for a minute, so just look around, look where you are, look what's going on. And I'm sure you talk about this, Tom, that it's about the having. So when you're whining or complaining, you're thinking about what's not right, what you don't have, what's not working, whatever. But the minute you step into the gratitude and look for that, then you're in the having of this is so wonderful and look what I have, and I'm with my family and I'm in Europe and I'm exploring and we're having these adventures, and yeah, they're not always going to be perfect. That's part of the adventure. So I think that's a big part of it. And sometimes when I get bad news, like what could be seen as really bad news. So I think what comes to me right away is when my job ended in the corporate world, after 13 years with that company. I feel like it's a lottery sometimes. Sooner or later, your number comes up through mergers and acquisitions and, all those things. And I had the opportunity to stay. But when I got that news, I had a really unusual reaction. And most people would go into the, and what's going to happen and how am I going to make money and, where am I going to find a job? And I just went, thank you. I hung up the phone because I got the news over the phone. I hung up the phone and I said, thank you, God.
Wow.
And it was so people felt so bad for me and they couldn't figure out why I was like really happy. And because I knew that whatever came next was going to be really exciting and fun and rewarding. And so I was already grateful for what was coming. And that was a pivotal moment in my life because, they say anybody can be grateful for things after the fact, but it takes a true master to be grateful in advance.
Exactly. You said some things that I've been teaching and I've been learning myself about gratitude, and you've got strong wisdom and understanding about that in yourself, and that's pretty powerful. I'll just share my awareness, and I'll say this in a broad brush, not painting a picture this the way everybody is, but I believe people take gratitude for granted. Oh, I'm grateful for the sun, and I'm grateful for this on the surface level, and there's nothing wrong with that. And until I got into personal development coaching, and through awareness did I understand that I was operating from a place of victim. Because I have 2 learning disabilities. I'm ADHD and I'm also audio dyslexic, which means if you were, Dave's probably seen this, and what's your email, what's your phone, or ask 5 times. But I used to hide behind that in thinking that it's a deficit and it's holding me back. And I believe that. And it just only through when I recognized through gratitude of I have other talents and skills that superseded that. And now I could be authentic in the sense of letting people, hey, lots of times I was afraid to ask for the phone number for the second time. What do you think I am, dumb or stupid or something? But it's only through gratitude did I realize that it shifted how I operated. And then I started studying more and got deeper and deeper into it. And I'll plant this seed with Sarah about writing. It's just like a chore. I encourage you to get this book.
So hold on. I didn't say writing was a chore, but go ahead, continue.
Writing, it's like I got to sit and write something down or whatever.
Making lists is a chore, but writing, a free flow writing, gratitude journal, that kind of thing.
Okay, I misunderstood it. But,
I'm good. No, I'm completely on board with that.
I want to share this with you. In this book, the world record of writing a gratitude statement, not just I'm grateful for my cup of coffee, nothing that shallow, really in-depth gratitude. What is the string of things that cause you to be grateful for whatever it is? The world record for writing, never duplicating or replicating, never duplicated a gratitude statement, is 18,250 consecutive days.
Wow.
That's 50 years. My question I always pose to other people in that, because when I talk in my coaching, there's a lot of surface gratitude, not some real deep gratitude. As you study gratitude and make it an eternal process, things shift, and like unbelievable shift. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my clients' lives. Once they get it, that's through awareness.
Yeah.
But I always pose this question: do you think the person that wrote 18,256 consecutive non-replicated gratitude statements is going to operate differently in this world? Is going to get different outcomes in life? Is going to have different influence in other people's life? I would think so.
But I would think it would take them, it's a process, by the time the first, like you said, 5, 10, even 25, maybe 100, it's that level. And it's only after you establish a habit, start having patterns of thought, you start looking for things to be grateful for, you start digging a little deeper, and it's that process that's going to really create those deeper results. And, it's funny, I'll offer this. When it comes to writing and journaling, I think that person's approach is going to create that process. There's another writing journaling approach that I learned recently that is, in the world of creativity. I don't know if you're familiar with Julia. She wrote The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron, and she talks about morning pages. And morning pages are not necessarily a gratitude journal, but what I have discovered is morning pages are about just like writing out whatever is at the top of your mind, which is kind of that surface stuff, because sometimes you have to get the surface stuff out of the way. It's hard. It's really hard to sort of just all of a sudden be able to go deep if you're not in the habit of it, to get through all that other stuff. And so that's a practice, a similar kind of practice where you can actually, express and let go and, get out on the page some stuff that's on your mind that may be cluttering your ability to see that next level, to tap into that next perspective, to see what's the gratitude in it after you sort of, some people need to like do the complaining or hard or like, this is what's on my mind thing first in order to get there. I don't know. Do you agree with that or not necessarily?
I'll just, and then let anybody else say, but I'll just make this statement. What gratitude changes the feeling, and changing a feeling, we're seeking pleasure in life. We're human beings. We're seeking pleasure. And what the gratitude that changes the neurochemistry, actually you are releasing endorphins and all that. You are in a state of alteration chemically. So you mentioned creating a discipline. When we recognize that feeling, how do I replicate it again? That you create the discipline to get the feeling back again. So daily gratitude statements and doing it deeper is not work because you're feeding what you want to feel.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And that's how you change. That person probably just got more and more addicted to that feeling, and it was no longer a chore. It was, I'm so excited to get up in the morning and go and write. So that's the feeling that gratitude gives. Are we ready for another question?
I just want to add to that, I guess. I think that Sarah's really good at bringing us down to earth when Dave and I, sometimes we want to go to that happy place and Sarah's like, well, wait a minute, I got to feel what I'm feeling. And I think she's talking about acceptance, that we have to accept our emotions and accept where we are before we can move forward. And I think it depends on the level of intensity of that emotion, that it does sometimes need to be honored in order to open up the flow, because you have to accept that you're even in the stream to flow downstream. And but from on the day-to-day, jumping right in gratitude and making that a practice, you're going to build that muscle, and it is going to get easier for sure. You've built up that flow. So I agree with both in their place.
Mm-hmm.
And the importance, I think what we're all getting at is, if you're feeling it, that's what really matters. If you're just writing it because that's your chore for the day and you have to write it down and you don't really feel it, that doesn't count. And so my goal is always to find a tool that works for people where they really feel it. Otherwise, it's like those Dave was talking about, you go to a networking thing and you're kind of playing a role or doing what you think you have to do. And you can't, gratitude doesn't work that way. You can't fake it.
And another part of that is
you have to actually feel it.
Yeah, and I think another part of that is some of us we operate more in our head center. And so we have to think through it to get to our feelings. But some of us operate more in our heart or even in our solar plexus, where our emotional authority is in the lead. And in that case, sometimes you have to go up through that to get to your brain, to get to your head, to get to the thinking of the gratitude and making the list. So we're all such different creatures,
Yeah,
it's funny, you guys, we're talking about feeling, and feeling really is a vibration, right? It's energy, it's a feeling. And I kind of like our title for today's conversation, Let the Good Vibes Flow. It's really let the good feelings flow is really what this is. And you're right, Sarah, and Jill, you're right. We come at it from different perspectives, but really the ultimate is how do we get that feeling that puts us in that state? Tom, you're talking about that state that joyful state we want to be into. How do we get there? Because we see once we're in that, good things happen. We feel good. Things just come our way. We hit green lights. We find that perfect parking spot. That all seems to happen when we're in that feeling, when we have that feeling in us. And I just want to throw in too, Jill, you're right. Anticipating, you said before, anticipating appreciation for something that hasn't happened. You're emitting that vibration or that feeling that goes out, which seems to attract what you want to come back to you. I don't know if it was Emerson or who said that what you give out is what comes back. So the law of bounce back, so to speak. So it all plays in there, but I think we're all saying the same thing here. It's all about that feeling. Gratitude is giving you that feeling, and there's a real power in that.
that gratitude puts you in that state that Tom's talking about.
Absolutely.
It really puts you in the state of flow.
Yeah.
Because when you feel good, I mean, you can't do anything when you don't feel good. It's hard. I mean, you're either forcing it or pushing, or, I mean, it's a rough ride. But when you're in gratitude, or you're in a happy place, or you're in a good place and you feel good, which gratitude does for you, then you're in that flow and you're flowing downstream, and it's easier and it's more productive and creative and all of that. Have more clarity of an organization. It all goes with it.
Yeah, nobody has the intent of bringing their boat to the stream and turning their boat upstream, right? Who has the intent to do that? You put your boat in, and naturally you want to go downstream, right? You want to go with the flow. And you're right. The flow of gratitude is downstream.
Yeah. You know, there's two flows. You got the negative flow. That's going upstream. Okay. Yeah. And downstream is the positive, my own metaphor on that. And this is really important, knowing that gratitude shifts the flow. Just because you can't occupy a negative and positive thought at the same time. Impossible. You can go back and forth instantaneously, but you can't. So when you can master that thought process through gratitude, your perspective changes. Your own perspective of how bad it is, you realize it isn't that bad, because it causes you to step back and look holistically through the whole picture of what gratitude brings. Oh yeah, right now, my house burnt down. Everybody's safe. What are we focusing on?
Yeah.
What are we focusing on? And what I hear in my coaching, most people focus on the negative first. You got to recognize it, but how do you shift from that so you can deal with whatever circumstances, whether it's positive, negative, in a different perspective? So
something is important to me just real quick, where, a lot of what we're talking about, and I think a lot of the first level of things that people think about that they're grateful for are external things, physical things, relationships, people, your house, your whatever. But I started thinking about emotion. So gratitude is kind of an emotion, but kind of its own. I'm curious that we didn't even really define what that is. But there's, when you're feeling uncomfortable, or you're feeling a little scared, or you're feeling negative, there are some negative emotions where if you tell people, well, feel grateful for that emotion, that's may not go over very well. But there are times where I can shift because I'm nervous about something, or I'm, whatever, to say, I'm grateful to feel this way. This means I'm outside my comfort zone. This means I'm growing. This means I don't know, it's creating new things in my life, and to be able to even be grateful for emotions that maybe we would have identified as not in the positive end of things. It was a little bit like Jill's, reaction to the job, but not grateful because of the outside circumstances, but be grateful for what's actually going on inside of you to have that level of awareness. I don't know. That's what was coming to me. What do you guys think?
To be grateful that you're human, to have that full range of emotions. I mean, I feel like that's why we're here, is to really feel it. I cry at movies all the time, and because I'm touched, and it touches my heart, and I embrace that now. I used to hide from that, I think, at some level. Well, I know I did. I was a tough cookie. And as I opened up and really embraced those emotions, that means I have to embrace them all. Yeah. And I am very grateful for those emotions, because they're my emotional guidance system, telling me that something's going on that needs my attention, and attention equals love. So I just love it all, right? And I'm grateful for it all.
Yeah. Jill, when you were talking, it just kind of sparks to me. We're talking about gratitude. I think what gratitude really does is it sits away everything in your life and brings up to you what truly matters to you. What really, truly matters to you. When you're really into a deep, grateful mode, Yeah, it's nice to have the cars and it's nice to have a bike or whatever. But you had talked about if your house burned down, I hear a lot of people are saying, as long as I got my family, that's all that matters to me. I'm grateful nobody was hurt. And when you said that before, I thought about that. Yeah, being grateful really sifts through maybe some of that surface stuff, which is good. But when you get to that, what really truly matters, I think that's where that emotion and that feeling comes from. And that's what we seek. We want to be aligned with what truly matters in our life.
Yeah. If I may just sort of piggyback on what you all said here, is gratitude gives you the freedom to cry. It gives you the freedom to celebrate. It gives you the freedom to express the real feeling, but you're approaching it with a different perspective than just reacting and not knowing why you feel the way you feel. That's the power of gratitude. We live in a culture of, I call it gratitude. My mind just went blank. It's in the book here, but it rang. Gratitude. People aren't aware how powerful it is and how it can be used. And gratitude deficit disorder. There we go. The author talks about that we live in a culture, and we can take men as an example. We've been trained not to cry and feel. And I'm sure that happens with women and other things, but what has created how we respond to our feelings? And when we understand the power of gratitude, it's be grateful that you can cry at a happy, there's crying for happiness and there's crying for true grief, right? Mm-hmm. Grateful that you can do that. And it changes how you will operate moving forward. So that's a very powerful principle. So, losing your job, be grateful. That's a loss.
Yeah. And you mentioned the word celebrate. And so often with people I work with, that they don't take time to celebrate. And celebrating is being in the state of gratitude. So it's being grateful for the things that they've accomplished. I mean, it's amazing when sometimes I ask, so what went well? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then as we're talking, though, that this went well and that went well. And oh, and by the way, that happened. And I connected with this person. And then they're really excited and happy about those things. So if we took the time to actually do that and celebrate, so I think that's another word to use instead to help people get into that state of gratitude. Because when you're celebrating, you are so grateful for the progress even. It doesn't necessarily mean that something was accomplished, just the progress that you made over the last week or month or whatever. To feel grateful for that, it puts you back in the flow, to feel let the good vibes flow. Because otherwise we're in our judgment of ourselves that we didn't do enough. Like, oh, nothing good happened, or I didn't do enough, or I didn't accomplish enough. But once you start letting it flow, more flows, then it opens more doors. Oh yeah, and I did this and I did that. That's fun.
Yeah. I like what you said there, Jill. I said I like what she said. It opens doors, doesn't it? Gratitude does open doors.
It does.
So the way you said that was perfect. It does open up doors.
And Jill, you made this comment about celebrating. In this book, the author had read some other books and researches, and they were talking about spiritual principles, and he didn't list gratitude in his book. And he was in a conference with this other author. He says, why didn't you mention gratitude as a spiritual principle? And he's a big theologian and so on. He says, gratitude is not a spiritual principle. Celebration is.
That's interesting because, Deepak Chopra and, so many of the greats bring up gratitude and continue to talk about gratitude. But I like that twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So it brought a different awareness to it because he says the real underlying spiritual principle is celebration. He listed 15 spiritual principles that he was in his book. And he asked, how come you didn't say anything about gratitude? And then they had conversation over dinner and he went deeper into it. But he says, in reality, when you look at the spiritual laws, gratitude falls under celebration.
Yeah.
So it's just different interpretation, but that's awareness, just different perspectives, different way to look at things, and sense that. So yeah, life should be a celebration. Celebrating.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
And I think
we are. I tell you what, we can do this. I've done interviews where we've done an hour and a half. I don't know what your time frame is, but Sarah, I just like to compliment you. This is what sort of the flow that downstream when you bring a talk about this inner dialogue and perspective. Is this what the people would encounter by plugging into your group?
I think this was a pretty good representation of it. And just like this happens at the end of every downstream meeting too, we look at the time and we say, oh my gosh, we could keep talking. We could keep doing this for longer. And that desire to hold on to that energy. This has been awesome, Tom. So thank you again for inviting us to your platform, but also going along with us to share some of what downstream is all about.
Yeah, here to support that. I know the group of people that attend and stuff, and I've attended what I come away with. So I'm here to endorse growth. Find that tribe, something that you can vibrate with, flow with. People that allow you to be vulnerable. That's how we grow.
Absolutely.
And so you guys are doing a wonderful job. I know that I want to put some information up here so those that see this on replay or whatever the case may be know how to get a hold of you. So let me pull something up here in my banners. First, I want to do is make sure everybody's tagging and sharing this out to their audience. But this is everybody's email. So if you want to reach out and contact Jill or Sarah or Dave, if somebody resonates with what you said and want to have that dialogue, there's their emails out there. And I'm going to put up your website.
Great.
Did I put that up there?
Yeah, it was in the ticker down there.
At the bottom. So that's how they can get more information about your platform and what you do.
Yep. DownstreamInspired.com. It's right there. And you'll find our upcoming events. You'll find our membership. We do have a membership where people have committed and want to just be part of it, and what that all includes. We've got special events. We've got just downstreamy kinds of testimonials and quotes. So do check us out. That would be great.
And I'm going to put something up. I'm going to bring this down. And Sarah, whoever would like, this is an offer. If you want to claim this offer, you can go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I can jump on that one. Yeah, so we have an offer. I hope you guys like what we did today. And if you're in line with this and you want to be a part of this, we want you to come in and join it and get a taste of Downstream. So we do have a little offer. First of all, visit DownstreamInspire.com and then scroll down to the upcoming events and find one of our upcoming events that we have and click on that to register. And if you put in this code, join in 2021, you'll be able to attend for free. So we want to offer that to you to come in and get a taste of Downstream, jump in the boat with us, head downstream with us in a conversation, and really kind of test drive Downstream. So that is our offer. Again, just go to DownstreamInspired.com, find upcoming events, pick out one of our events coming up, and then go ahead and put in that join in 2021, and you'll be registered and you can come on join us for our next event.
And that next event is coming up quick. So it's April 21st, and it's where your attention goes, energy flows.
Got it.
Yes.
Right on with what we've been talking about. I love it.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts? And then we'll exit here. So
just grateful, so grateful, Tom. This has been a fantastic way to spend time together. I always love being with these two, but it's been fantastic reconnecting with you again, seeing you again, and to your people and what you've created here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to put you in the green room. under contract. You got the blue M&Ms for Sarah. You got the green for Dave. And Jill, we got donuts for you. So we didn't know what color you like. So we'll just enjoy. Just hold on. I'm going to wrap up here.
I'm in. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Just stay in the green room. So DownStream. I'm so grateful to have these people in my life, even though we don't connect on a regular basis, but we've intertwined and crossed our paths. They've influenced me in many different ways by participating in their program. So find your tribe. I encourage you to seek out people that can help you grow, expand yourself, take life, and look at it differently with a sense of gratitude. So with that all said, turn on your notifications for next week for Elevate Your Profits. We're bringing in Warren Tuttle. He's going to be talking about if you have an idea that you want to take to the marketplace, that you need a patent, protect that. We're bringing in Warren Tuttle, a world-renowned take an idea to the marketplace consultant on Monday night. Elevate Your Profits. So turn on your notification, tribe, for 6 p.m. Eastern. Elevate Your Profits. So G-Force, keep in mind, G-Force is one of the most powerful words when we learn how to harness its beauty, its power. It brings more love, more joy, and more peace in your life, having a sense of gratitude in your life. With that all said, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.